Alive and Well STL is a presentation of the St. Louis Regional Health Commission with the first decade review of health status report to build a healthier St. Louis, and RareGem Productions. Power up with the positive. Learn more at oneraregem.com. That's ONERAREGEM.com.
Support for Alive and Well STL comes from Beyond Housing, helps entire communities become better places to live. Learn more at beyondhousing.org.
The Regional Health Commission works in partnership with regional health sector advocates and stakeholders to improve healthcare access, reduce health disparities, and improve health outcomes for the uninsured and the underinsured in St. Louis City and County.
Alive and Well STL with Bethany Johnson-Javios, CEO of the St. Louis Integrated Health Network.
Today on the show, we're talking about men's health.
But the myths are myths that come out of real experiences. They're myths nonetheless, and they're uninformed, but they come from real experiences. I mean, the whole mistrust, but I think we do have a responsibility to start addressing those myths and informing them with correct information so people can be better informed and make good choices about our health and our well-being.
And men rarely establish a positive relationship with a doctor, where a man does not perceive a doctor as someone who's there to care for him, but just to probe him, and violate him.
We'll be right back.
RareGem Productions, proudly presenting, promoting, and producing positive programs. Hi, this is Jade Harrell. You remember what it was like to dream? Yeah, what really compelled your heart? Imagine if you knew early on that it was possible for you to live your dream. Kwame Foundation presents the Live Your Dream Concert. Introducing performances by Brianna Elise and Trio. Thursday, March 20th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the lovely Sheldon Concert Hall, 3648 Washington Boulevard. Sponsored by Worldwide Technologies, the St. Louis American, and Renaissance Financial. I am excited to host and be a part of this very special event. Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.
Anthony, as your introduction to our audience this morning, share with us, what does it mean to you to be alive and well in STL?
Being alive and well in St. Louis is really exciting to me at this time. As mentioned, I recently retired, so my lifestyle has changed enormously. So with this idle time, I have a lot of time to really think about certain issues, and particularly health, and looking at my family and what role my health plays in my family. Without me, it could be devastating to the family just because I'm not taking care of my health. I'm oftentimes teased by my friends and colleagues that I go to the doctor more than any man that they ever know, but I figure if you got the coverage, why not? So I'm very proactive about health. I've got various specialists that I see just on a precautionary measure, so I encourage my counterparts to do the same.
Awesome.
Alive and Well STL.
I am Bethany Johnson-Javios, CEO of the St. Louis Integrated Health Network and host of Alive and Well STL, sponsored by the St. Louis Regional Health Commission. Today in studio, I'll be speaking with Pastor Rodney Francis at Washington Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, and Anthony Davis, a 30-plus year veteran in criminal justice here in St. Louis. Both are members of the Community Advisory Board of the Regional Health Commission. So thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you. Today on the show, we're talking about men's health. According to a report recently released by the Commonwealth Fund, men are about half as likely as women to seek regular medical care. So to get us started, I want to hear your opinion. What's happening on the local level? What's going on?
Well, from what I see, my background is with criminal justice. I was formerly a supervisor with the Missouri Board of Probation and Parole. So I dealt a lot with the offender and ex-offender population. And interacting with those individuals, I oftentimes saw that medical issues and physical wellness was never or ever a priority for them. It's actually something that's actually forced upon them at times to determine what their medical status is. Particularly in the penal institutions, I've experienced situations where many of the individuals that enter the system, that's the first time that they receive a full physical as an adult. Okay, and from that, oftentimes various previously undiagnosed illnesses and diseases and abnormalities come about, and they are treated in the institution. However, once they leave that institution, that treatment oftentimes falls by the wayside.
Anthony, I know you to be a researcher, so I want you to look on that paper and tell me some more about, this show is all about addressing myths. What myths exist? Name them specifically, and let's work together now to start addressing some of those myths.
Well, we spoke briefly about the distrust of the system and the distrust for physicians. We have our macho images that we have to deal with, particularly in African-American males. And whether they want to admit it or not, there's a fear factor. You know, there's definitely a fear factor, a fear for the unknown. Okay, they're not familiar with medical technology, medical terms, illnesses and diseases and the subsequent treatments for those illnesses. An overall lack of knowledge, not being educated as to why there is a need for a yearly physical or why there is a need for a man over 40 to have a prostate exam, okay? And that's a whole nother subject about the prostate exam that really blows me away, that, you know, men really feel that that's a violation of their person to get a medical procedure that can save their life. You know, it's just ludicrous to me that a man would think that a prostate exam equates to being sexually molested, you know, and that's what it is. That's simply what it is. I mean, we don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. And I see that all the time. Men feel that I will not be violated. You know, they feel that that is a violation of them to have a prostate exam or even a hernia exam. You know, men are uncomfortable taking off their clothes in front of another man. You know, it's just that simple. I mean, and you can't really fault men for these issues, but I mean, there are issues that we do need to overcome. And men rarely establish a positive relationship with a doctor, you know, as opposed to a female. You know, we have our rational thoughts and our unemotional thoughts where women tend to embrace someone who's there to care for them, where a man does not perceive a doctor as someone who's there to care for him, but just to probe him, you know, and violate him.
To that latter one, I would say if any men have that kind of a challenge, then, you know, you could always find a doctor who is a woman. If you're more comfortable with that. My doctor happens to be a woman. I think that there are ways in which all those things can certainly be addressed. But the myths are myths that come out of real experiences. They're myths nonetheless, and they're uninformed, but they come from real experiences. I mean, the whole mistrust, you know, the Tuskegee experiment, as long ago as that has been, is still fresh in people's mind. I mean, the Pruitt-Igoe experiment that we heard about recently is still fresh in people's mind about what the government and the system can do and doing to us unwittingly. And so those are things that are real, but I think we do have a responsibility to start addressing those myths and informing them with correct information so people can be better informed and make good choices about our health and our well-being.
I got to ask of you, Anthony. You just listed out all of the barriers, the stigma, the pushback, the excuses. Some of that you said was excuses. You've been dealing with brothers in so many different circumstances in their lives. Speak to that struggling person that's listening right now that isn't moving off the dime and believes some of these misconceptions. What would you say to him?
First of all, I would express to that person is to get those things out of your mind, because most of them are not true. The second thing I would say is to seek resources that will make your access to care much easier. Again, my experience is from the criminal justice community. So the men that I dealt with are often disenfranchised, okay, often unemployed. Therefore, they had no medical coverage because of the way the system is set up. They were not eligible for Medicaid, okay, or Medicare or benefits like that to seek free medical. The biggest barrier is a financial barrier for most African-American men. And when you're sitting there saying, you know, food, clothes, taking care of my children, I come last when it comes to going to the doctor about a little call for a cold or a soreness or whatever. That takes a back page to the priorities in my household. So as men, as the caring men that we oftentimes sacrifice our health, okay, for the benefit of our families and loved ones, okay? Mixed priorities sometimes, but, you know, sometimes it's reality. You know, when you're sitting at the table and say, okay, do I want to feed my kids or do I want to go to a doctor and pay, you know, $25, $35, $45 for an office visit, that I'm going to still come out and feel the same way. He's not going to do anything for me. Again, perpetuating the distrust in the system and the people that represent the system. So we have to get over that obstacle and that barrier. And we also have to disprove some of the medical myths that are perpetuating our community. Myths such as adults don't need to get shots, that we don't need immunizations, We're doing a big push on flu shots, But, I could probably estimate the percentage of black men in this community that have got a flu shot this year, either because they don't feel they're going to get the flu or they can't afford the shot, okay, or know how to access it free. So again, the lack of information, lack of education. Another myth is only old people have chronic diseases such as heart failure and heart diseases and strokes and diabetes-related illnesses. Again, another myth. A big myth that I see, that I've often seen, is that we feel that if you are sick and you do make that decision to go to the doctor or to the emergency room, you need to go in the ambulance because you get treated quicker, okay? We as black people feel that we are second-class citizens when it comes to the medical profession as far as hospitals and emergency rooms and doctors. We can only go to certain doctors. We can only go to certain hospitals. It's a reality of this region. This is what normal people see, what everyday people see, and they get disenchanted with the system. So they bow out of the system. And the last thing that I saw is that we feel that natural means good and safe, such as natural remedies, natural products, as opposed to medications and traditional medical care. We rather treat ourselves sometimes than to go to a doctor, and it's cheaper.
So maybe this is where Vicks Vapor Rub doesn't necessarily come
there
in.
You go.
To
there
treat.
You go. Hot toddies, Vapor Rub, the whole 9 yards.
Well, Vaseline is not the answer to everything.
Goose grease and
Robitussin don't cure everything.
In wrapping up, you shared so much richness. We have a lot of work to do, but can you paint your vision for the future? In St. Louis, black men are living up to their full potential. Paint the picture of what that looks like. What's the hope that we're aspiring to get to in St. Louis on this issue?
Well, if you can't be here for your kids and for your grandkids and for the next generation, what good are you, in my opinion? So, you have to take care of yourself in order to make an impact. If I don't treat my body right and I'm not here to guide the people that I care about, my friends, families, and loved ones, what purpose do I have? In order to have a purpose in life, I have to take care of myself first. They tell you that on the airplane. They say when the little air thing comes down, if you got a kid or a loved one, put yours on first and then put theirs on. Okay, so I got to take care of myself first in order to take care of anybody else. And if that is my true desire, to take care of my family, to be there for my friends and family, I need to take care of myself, both medically and emotionally.
That sure makes it seem like that $45 copay, I've got to be worth more than $45
Exactly.
when you think of it in those terms. Is there anything else in closing that you want to share before we wrap up?
The only thing I can really say is that, I challenge all men, not just black men, but all men to, take care of themselves, take care of their bodies. So as the pastor eloquently stated, so they can be around here to make an impact in this world.
The content of this show is going to change somebody's life listening. And I told you listeners that if you tuned in, you would be moved by something in order to act. And I kept my word. Is there anything else in closing that you want to share before we wrap up?
I want to issue a challenge to the ladies, the women, the mothers in our lives. We men can be very stubborn, but we need you to push us, kick us if you have to, out the door, to the doctor, make the appointment. Your sons, your nephews, your brothers, your husbands, all the men in your lives that you know are not taking care of their bodies as they should, encourage them. Shepherd them there if you have to. We need you ladies. We need you women. We need you to support us in making sure that we care for ourselves. And with your support, with the support of the women in our lives, I believe that we could really make a dent in this area.
Thank you so very much for
Thank
everything
you.
that you've
Thank
shared,
you.
all that you've said, how you shared a bit of yourself. And thank you, everyone, for joining us for another episode of Alive and Well STL. For more information about men's health services available in the community, you can visit us online at aliveandwellstl.com. We will be back again next week.
Alive and Well STL. Thank you for joining us today. For resources available, go to aliveandwellstl.com. If you have more questions about the program, need help, or want to connect, please call the message box at 314-333-8369. The Regional Health Commission with Chief Executive Officer Robert Friend Jr. committed to providing a detailed review of change over the past decade in 14 leading health indicators for the city and county of St. Louis. The first decade review of health status report, an update to building a healthier St. Louis. Discover the narrative, the data, and celebrate the progress already made to improve healthcare access and reduce health disparities in our region. Learn more at stlrhc.org. Alive and Well STL is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening. Hi, this is Jade Harrell. You remember what it was like to dream? Yeah, what really compelled your heart? Imagine if you knew early on that it was possible for you to live your dream. Kwame Foundation presents the Live Your Dream Concert. Introducing performances by Brianna Elise and Trio. Thursday, March 20th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the lovely Sheldon Concert Hall, 3648 Washington Boulevard. Sponsored by Worldwide Technologies, the St. Louis American, and Renaissance Financial. I am excited to host and be a part of this very special event. Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.
Did you make $52,000 or less last year? If so, you could be eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit. Hi, I'm Russ Signorino with Gateway EITC. Fast, friendly, and free tax preparation services are available near you. To find out if you qualify for free tax prep, call 314-539-4062. Again, that's 314-539-4062. Why pay to get your taxes done when you can get them done for free? It's your money. You earned it. Call us now to learn more.
RareGem Productions proudly presenting the positive.